I love you guys.
Dance off, bro. I have the high ground.
Expecto Patronum!
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor.
Tribe of Nerds.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Originally, we had planned on waiting a week to do this, but because time opened up today, we decided to do our Survivor 46 review and ranking. So Kevin, Cameron, and I are going to be talking about our thoughts on this season now that it is over as of last night at the time of this recording. So what are your guys' impressions of 46?
Listen, this reminds me of when like you ask a kid what their favorite subject is and they say lunch. Like, what was my favorite part of the season? When it ended. I mean, I could compliment sandwich this. I could say, like, we could start with a positive and say, like, thank God someone in the challenge production area finally started changing up the challenges, right? Like, we're getting new puzzles, we're getting new types of challenges. Like, we're not getting the same tree puzzle anymore. Like, how many times are they going to repaint that, right? Like, and like, it felt like they were getting to the point they'd been painted so many times they weren't fitting together anymore. So, like, we're getting new challenges. Great. Loved that Final Four challenge where they had to roll the ball up and it had to go down.
That was an
Great challenge.
Australian Survivor style challenge, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah. And like, one of the things that Survivor Australia does so well is they aren't afraid to use equipment that doesn't look like it's from a shipwreck, you know, like, and so like, thank God they got that memo. Love that. And the like other piece of bread, the other bookend of this like good thing would be, I felt like it was surprising but still satisfying, the winner that we got. I thought Kenzie was not invisible the whole season, but she did fade in the background for a while, but it wasn't like an Erica situation or a Gabler situation where like you're sitting there like, where did this person come from? Like,
right.
It was still satisfying. She fought for it at Final Tribal Council and she earned it. So like, though we were expecting Charlie to win, like the surprise was not unsatisfying in that regard. So I will say they did those two things right. I will say pretty much everything else from pre-production to the final airing, they did wrong. And if you think the season was good, I'm glad that you enjoy the show. I'm glad you watch it. Hopefully, because the show has ratings, it gets to continue and get fixed because it wasn't good.
Hopefully we don't get a similar situation, but we'll see. All right, Cameron, give us your impressions.
I don't think it was that bad. I think it's interesting how you can have a cluster bomb of a season happen, you know? It's like the new era Gabon. I've seen that comment places and I'm like, you know what? That's kind of true. And Gabon has its niche fans, some of which are a little pirate crazy, but I kind of enjoy 46 because it's not that it's chaotic, it's just stupid. It's like you watch this and you're like, okay, this is a season of people who only made mistakes, you know? And
so like
the people who made the least mistakes kind of got to the end, which were just like the nice people who rocked out. But I think the editing stepped up just like a little bit. For certain scenes, not the whole thing. I hate the new era editing. Like if you go back and watch 30 to 39, it's like a completely different show. And it's like a feeling you get while you're watching it, the way things are shot, the way the storytelling works. But I think the Banu Boot episode was really good because you never see somebody just so desperate. Like you never get a player that desperate where his whole tribe is like, get up off your knees. I'm not going to talk to you. Like, I think that was just an interesting dynamic for an episode that we may never ever get again, which is good. but it was like, I'm glad it happened in a way. And then in the final four fire making, that scraping soundtrack throughout like a lot of the confessionals, I was like, oh my gosh, let them cook. Like, where has this been the entire season or the new era? Like, why are we not getting more of this? And I know we're getting like longer episodes, and 47 will, like, they know they're having longer episodes, so things can be edited better. But I think whoever's like storyboarding a lot of the season is where there's a lot of issues, because like stories don't add up. People who get voted out blindside the audience, which isn't what we want. We want an idea and guess who's going home. You know what I mean? So I think there were positives. I think a lot of the cast just fell flat. I can't believe that many people wouldn't play idols. It almost feels fake, but you know, it's just, I could understand the feeling of wanting to hold on to it to secure your spot further when there's such a clear Q target every time, because he sucked. So it's like, oh, it just makes sense that we're voting this guy out who everybody hates, and there's like other goats to bring anyway. So the Q smokescreen annoyed me because it would just make him more confident. But I think overall, I liked the winner. I was stressed out because I didn't want somebody I didn't like to win, which was most of the people. And I think overall, I was happy that we could move on and past it, because I hope it's like a learning experience for a lot of things. And I will say it was like almost annoying how some of the players were so not self-aware of their own actions. Like Q, just so dumb on the jury when he's like arguing back and forth about this thing that other people, multiple people, are telling you did this. And then you have Maria, who's like, woe is me, I'm not like a bad person or a villain, but like you have multiple examples of her doing villainous things, like telling Jelinski she's going to smear his name to her tribe if he's lying to her at that first like outing, and just multiple other things. But I enjoyed it at the end of the day, but I probably won't put it on my rewatch list anytime soon.
Cameron, I want to clarify, when I stood up, it was because I was trying to quickly evaluate if I could take the things off my table to flip it quickly enough, because you said the Banu boot episode was good. And I need you to understand that that is an incorrect opinion.
I think if you were to just rewatch that episode, it has aspects that you will never get again in that kind of episode.
Thank God we'll never get it again.
Yes, but its uniqueness in its shittiness is what makes it interesting for me, because you just never get somebody who's that on the outs because they're so bad at the game of Survivor, and their tribe is just like, it's obvious. It doesn't matter if Kenzie's a threat. It doesn't matter if Q is annoying, because Banu sucks at Survivor, and he has spilled all of the tea. He's breaking down, like he just genuinely can't be here. You know what I mean? And that's interesting in a way. It's interesting that the casting didn't pick up on like any of these qualities. Like maybe they did just want like a super emotional person, but like everything you see from him before he actually like starts playing the game, he's super positive, and like I'm sure he was like that the whole time. And then the second like people didn't want to work with him, he didn't know what to do, he started breaking down because he knew like this dream is over. Like there's nothing I can do to stop it now.
Okay. Cameron.
Is that not interesting though? At least it doesn't have to be entertaining.
It's not interesting. It's not interesting. It's not interesting. There's a reason that regular people like us don't go to the Olympics, because it's not interesting to watch us get our asses handed to us by professionals. Like, it's not entertaining. It's not good. It was
Are
not.
You calling the rest of the 46 cast professionals?
No, I'm saying they're all regular people who didn't belong at the Olympics. Like,
okay,
it's so annoying. It's so frustrating. Like, when you put people like Banu on the island, people like Jelinski on the island who have no business being there in the first place, you end up with people like Liz and Q, who also have no business being there, making it to the end game. Like, It's so annoying. Like, stop casting these terrible players and then getting us to be left with these other terrible players who are also obnoxious and like so full of themselves. Q to this day is like defending himself in posts and like, sir, are you not watching yourself? Are you having no self-reflection? Because you're insane. And like, it's maddening. And like, the thing is so because I talked to Aurora, she told me a lot about the interview process to get on Survivor. Like, they will like mentally break them to see what happens when they break. So in the interview process, that they should have caught that Banu, once he like gets to that point, that he is like over emotional and cannot handle it and breaks down. They should have caught that Jelinski just gives up and quits. And those people should not have been on. Like, it's so frustrating that like they gave that, like, well, I mean, let's just see what happens. Like, no, because you know what's going to happen. They're terrible and they suck, right? And like Jess is probably great. Jess, I had her on my fantasy team at first for Paige's game because she does like seem great, but like I didn't know, they should have known that she takes a medication that affects how her brain works that is not allowed in Fiji. So like, you should know that that is going to lead to just an inability to function. And like, why are you doing this? Why are you putting these people who have no business being there? Why are you putting them there?
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. I don't find that interesting or entertaining. I just find it frustrating.
Yeah, for me, I feel like Survivor, how they do casting for the new era is they deliberately want to cast specifically one tribe that is going to be the train wreck tribe that is going to lose most of the pre-merge challenges, and so they can try to develop some sort of story around these underdogs or like these messy people, and it's just rinse and repeat over and over again. So just like,
like,
in fact, we've gotten Lulu, we've gotten Yanu now, we've gotten what's the other ones in the new era?
Probably like a purple or a green
or
right.
from 41.
This is the other thing that's like a general new era problem is that like it's so repetitive. Even the tribe names, like we were like Jake and I were talking about the meme that's like it was like the 5 colors, they were all different colors of tribes, like the winners come from like a different color tribe, and so it was like, is Charlie gonna be the one? Are we gonna get a green one this time? But like when you look at the tribe names, it's all 4-letter 2-syllable things: Tika, Tuku, Lulu, Dadu, Appa, like it's nothing, and it's just, it adds to the copy paste repetitiveness that's so frustrating about the new era.
Yeah.
I hate that like they said at the start of the new era what it was going to be and how they were going to test things and like change things, and like then they didn't do that at all. They did it for the first 2 and then we're like, okay, now let's do that again for the next 2, and then let's do that again for the next 2. So hopefully after 6 stamps on the same page of the new era, they flip the page just a little bit. Like, I understand you want to do 26 days. I understand you want the after show and you don't want to pay for the pre-mergers to be there, and you don't want to have to set up a venue for the reunion and blah, 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 blah. I don't even care anymore. But like, you need to get your shit together. We need new, fresh twists. We need 2 tribes or 4 fucking tribes. Anything that's different than a 3-tribe dynamic. Change up the colors. Give us like a pink, a black, and like another color tribe. You know?
True.
Like when you finish the season, scrap all those challenges and build some new ones, and then bring back 2 classics. That's all you got to do. It's not very difficult. Beware advantages, people know about them now. They're not beware advantages anymore. You just lose your vote and it's a stupid gimmick. Get rid of it.
And nobody's going to avoid picking one up. They're all going to open it. We know at this point.
Right. And like,
shot in the dark, get rid of it.
shot in the dark, if they're going to keep shot in the dark, they need to up the odds that it works. Because I mean, we saw was it last season or the season before where like they played it, the one guy played it just because he didn't want to vote. Right, like
Matthew, I think.
Like, because it doesn't even work. It doesn't work. It's like we've seen it work one time in 6 seasons, and all the people who've tried it. one time. And it was great when it did work, which means there's something there. So increase the odds so they're more likely to try it. But like,
well, we've seen what I feel like they intended for it to be. With Caleb getting it in 45.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's any other thing to see from the shot in the dark.
And like,
so just remove it at this point and introduce some other.
Take it out.
You know, in Second Chance when he cuts that rope and like advantage pops up across like the lake, do that at a tribal council. Be like, you'll lose your vote, but you have a chance at an advantage, and someone gets up and grabs it. You know, interesting.
And like, the beware advantage too is like now it's just that like it's a hidden idol and you can't vote until you find it. Whereas like in the beginning, the beware advantage, there was like a risk to it because like you had to expose yourself in a way, right? Like, so they even watered down the twist that was just meh in the first place, you know, like, because it was kind of silly. I understand why they did it, but like you had to expose yourself to get it to work. So like there was something there, and now it's just, well, until you find the key, you don't have a vote. But then they always find the key before the first time they vote anyway. So like, what's the point? So,
yeah.
And what's like fun about Survivor if you're not voting? Like they even set up the journey that they do all the time now. Like, and the journey used to be good when you'd see it because you'd see the conversation mingling between the tribes at the walk up to the mountain or whatever. But now it's just like they get there, we see like maybe the first minute, and then it cuts to them going to their stations to do whatever, you know, and make their choice for whatever reason. Yeah. Like we want to see them interact because the social dynamics are what are most important about the show. So like I wish we would have seen more about like Maria Jelinski and Tevin talking there, but they kind of just jumped to the advantage and then got back out of it. Right. And I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But like, it's just so dumb. Like, don't do the journey anymore either.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. We've seen what we've wanted to get out of the journey. Do we want to just like talk about the tribes now, and then we'll go through the season? I mean, at this point, we just have to start. Let's just go through Yanu and the fact that they keep losing all the time. And we've already touched on Jelinski and Jess and Banu, but like, anything you want to say on the? I mean, we can talk about Q and Kenzie and Tiffany here as well, but I mean, we'll be talking more about them later anyway. But
Q sucks. Q should have also been there. And the only reason that Q was still there is because Raina got medevaced. Because what they intended to happen was that Yanu was just going to lose and lose. Like, I literally think that they planned that tribe and the challenges specifically to have Jelinski voted out first, so that in the next challenge when they needed a tall person, it would be like, oh, you shouldn't have voted out that tall person. But like,
you mean the tall person that would have given up anyway?
That would have given up anyway. But like that's the level of like it feels like they are like trying to like create this narrative of this tribe that loses constantly. And like, so like Q should have been out. It should have just been Kenzie and Tiffany.
Okay, I'm seductively eating corn on the cob.
Listen, if he's gonna eat it seductively, he's gotta eat it the other way. But yeah, it's just
there's your thumbnail, Jake.
Okay, good.
But like, let's go tribe by tribe. I don't even remember the names, but like the purple tribe, the only people who had any business being there were Tiffany and Kenzie. The green tribe,
Jess was fine.
I understand Jess to an extent, except for they should have known that her medication was going to be an issue.
I didn't even hear anything about this medication.
She takes ADHD meds, so like it's a controlled substance in Fiji. They wouldn't allow it in. So like
that's why she was just like very blank through her 2 episodes.
Right. Like I can tell you as a teacher, like because kids will sometimes go off of it for some reason, or they don't take it for a while, and like it messes with you. It messes with like your ability to function, to like be on and off.
I stopped taking mine like 10 years ago, and I'm fine.
You think this season was good, so no.
Yeah, you're right.
Not fine. But you know, like I can tell you that it like has an impact on people, and like when you do that, along with taking away their sleep, and taking away their food and in putting them in a situation that causes paranoia, there's one very likely outcome, and that's that they shut down.
Can I also just say, I'm not entertained by them literally starving and decaying out there.
Yeah.
Like, new fans are like, oh, I thought this was a survival show. No, it's not supposed to be. They're already torturing them too much. Like, give them rice again. Like, what did rice do to you? Like,
I'm just
I know you're out there for less
by-
time,
Yeah.
but you don't need to like hurt these people. Like, it's not fun to watch Ben mess up a vote because he's so tired. Like, you want to have a coherent person who's talking, but they're just like, they're all like, and they don't even look disheveled most of the time. It's just like they're just so mentally not there because they're not eating. They're eating papaya, like Jeff said at the reunion or something. He's like, oh, you know, like a papaya is so good or something. I'm like, give them rice. You didn't give them rice.
And like the general, so if they have a little bit of rice, like you're already giving them less food than usual, and you're already taking, like, they're not going to sleep, and you're like, it's going to increase the paranoia anyway. You don't need to like make it so extreme.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to have the Purple Tribe without like the ability to like have a fire for 4 episodes.
That's what I was about to say. It used to be a reward for going to tribal council that you would have fire in the form of flint because you went and your torches were lit because you went to tribal council and you went home with it, and then you could light a fire using your torch or whatever.
Yeah.
But now he takes it away if they even have it. But this tribe never got it. It's like, so they have no rice, and even if they had rice, they can't eat raw because they don't get fire because they keep losing, and they don't get it for going to tribal council and already losing a member, so that they're down and will keep losing.
Yeah.
And then it's like there's so many things that they don't need to do and that they're doing. And then there's easy things that they could do, like give them rice and go back to like 39 days or 32 days, add more days so that you don't want to kill them in the 26 days so that they kind of look out of it at the end. You used to have them with full beards and like messy hair and ripped up clothing by 39 days, but 26 days, it's like they don't look like that. So it's
an extra 13 days. That's an extra 13. That's 2 extra weeks.
Yep.
And like, I understand like there's a level of it to which like we're not seeing 3 days. We're not as the viewers, we're seeing an hour-long episode, whether it's for 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days. So like I understand that perspective, but like it's just not working. It's just not working. And like they own it all. Like that, it's their space on Fiji. Like they could add a week. They could add a half a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they could go to 30 days instead of 26 days. Like they could easily, like, and they just don't. And it's just like, but why? And like, I don't know. My biggest thing is just the number of people who just had no business being there regardless. Whether it's 26 days, 39 days, they have rice, they don't have rice. Like, I'm really, like, I am not entertained by people who have panic attacks having panic attacks on the island. Like, I'm like, it's cruel to me, right? Like, you have someone like Brandon, you have someone like Ben, right? Who, like, you know from the interview process they have panic attacks. You have put them through rigorous interviews where they have breakdowns. You know that they have panic attacks. So what's gonna happen when you put them on the island with no food, very little water, no sleep, and paranoia? They're gonna have panic attacks.
Yeah.
And add to that the like pressure that they're gonna put on themselves, knowing that it's all gonna be on TV. Like, and like it just, that to me is not, like, that feels cruel. And it also, like, it feels like someone's sitting there like, well, you wanted woke casting. You wanted a woke cast, so this is a woke cast. You know, like, it almost feels like a giant middle finger to the fans. Like, that's not what we asked for.
Right.
You know, like, it's so annoying. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just like, I agree with everything you guys are saying. And I don't know. I'm just confused also by like the casual fans that go on these Facebook groups and are just thinking this is a show about survival, and I'm just like, so this is clearly your first season and you're just tuning in now and you just think this should be all about survival when that's never been what Survivor has been about.
Right.
So,
like there's an aspect of it to where like, yes, you have to be able to survive, right? You have to be able to hack the elements, because if you can't, you're not going to make it, right?
Yeah.
But like it's primarily a social game, and like the reason that season 1 worked and blew up was because Richard Hatch realized that and made it that, and like that defined the show for so long, and that's what made the show great for so long. And it's like, yeah, this is a social game. This is not like
freaking Gretchen at the merge vote. Like, look at that. Like, that was a complete.
If it was a survivalist show, Gretchen should have won.
Right. Exactly. And she's the merge vote because it was a strategic move.
Yes. It's about strategy. So like, I mean, but yeah, it's annoying. I mean, so yeah, purple, Kenzie and Tiffany, good casting. Good. Yeah. They have potential there. I would say green tribe. What was Mariah doing there? She doesn't know how to jump. Get her off my TV. And she already looks like Liz, who also doesn't belong. Like they look like cousins. Get them off my TV. Ben, again, I feel bad for Ben. Like I honestly, like, I feel like it's cruel to put someone on the show just to have a panic attack, just to give us middle finger. Who is the other one? Oh, Tim, who's like useless and making stupid comments
about women. Yeah.
Right. Like you know from the interview process that he's gonna be like that. So like, bye. Yeah. And then so that's what, 5 out of 12 people so far who like have potential, because Jem, I will say Jem had potential. Jem got blindsided in a good blindside, right? Because like she has the idol and she hasn't been to a tribal council yet. She doesn't know what's going to happen. So she risks it and doesn't play it and gets voted out with it, right? Like that's a satisfying getting voted out with an idol. Yes. As opposed to the other ones we got where they were just overconfident. And then Orange Tribe.
Nami, yeah.
Listen, I mean, no one can predict what happens to Randon. It happened. Like
that was just out of nowhere.
Right. So like that's fine. That's forgivable. Venus.
Yeah, let's talk about Venus here.
I so very strongly do not like Venus. It bothers me, and it bothers me that they allowed it to be a narrative that she gets to hold the idol. When they win immunity, she gets to hold it. And if Soda also wants to hold it, Soda's trying to take it from her. I don't like that. I don't like that you like make that the narrative that like the like, oh, the white girl in the bikini, they're being mean to her because they're stealing, the mean black woman is stealing from her. Like I don't like that. That is not, I don't like that storytelling. And the fact that the producers were irresponsible enough to make that a story bothers me. And I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt that it was unintentional and it's unconscious, but like you as producers have the responsibility to tell a better story than that. And like then she went on like afterwards to say that like the only one who was nice to her was Hunter. Again, like I don't like the way that comes off. I don't like that, and like I feel like they should have a responsibility to treat those cast members better, to treat Tevin and Soda better. Yeah. So like Venus never should have been there.
I agree.
And Liz, and like apparently, like you were saying, Jake, that she said that her saying that she was rich was a strategic lie.
Yes. She came out with that today. Yeah.
How is that? Like,
well, because she was going to drop the bombshell at Final Tribal Council that she's not actually.
Shut the fuck up! Are you? That is a.
She was not winning this game. She was not. You saw how the jury was rolling their eyes, and she was just
the delusion. The delusion, but also like that is a lie that is going to hurt you. Like that's not going to help you. And again, this is something that the casting people definitely caught. Like that is something that like that type of strategy and that type of thought process came up in their interview process, and they let it go on anyway. And it's just like, why? You knew this person didn't have good strategies going in.
I like Liz.
Shut the fuck up. No, you don't.
I didn't like Liz originally, but I kind of like Liz.
And like then you end up with Q versus Liz in this stupid. Liz in my mind was only cast so that she could be an Applebee's commercial. Like she was only there for that. And like
Blowing
you end up
up Apple, just wild.
You end up with this fight between Q and Liz where like they both suck. Like I'm not taking a side in that. I want you both. Right. I don't like. I mean, I guess I feel bad for the hungry girl. So send her. I don't fucking know. Like it's not like I'm not invested in either one of them, and like it didn't even matter because they didn't even go against each other the next vote for it. So like it's stupid.
Making weird nonsensical moves all game that just don't actually benefit her. She's just making them for the sake of making them.
Yeah, and like overall, I put it as they all are in line for to interview for the same apartment building in Brooklyn. Somebody else online said they all go to the same coffee shop in San Francisco. Like there's something about all of them that is so similar. Like that's why you have 4 people voted out in a row with an idol in their pocket, because they're all too similar. Like recruit some people. Like I don't want a whole season of recruits like Fiji because that didn't work, but like recruit a few people. You still got Michelle, Earl, Yao-Man, Dreams out of that, Cassandra out of that. Like you still end up with a few good people out of that. So like recruit a few people, because they're not going to come to the game with the same thought processes of like how important this is to them and how it's their life goal and it's their dream. And like you're going to get people who are like, fuck it, I'm going to play the idol, you know, like.
Yeah. So for me, for Nami, so Venus, I didn't really like how she just seemed entitled, and like you go on Twitter and she's like, it seemed unconscious, but the fact that she's like basically having these Twitter stands that are like supporting her no matter what, just because she's an attractive girl.
To be fair, there's always the Twitter stands, regardless of Venus's interactiveness with it. Mm-hmm. Those Twitter stands always pick like 1 or 2 people and just die for them, and will like call anybody out, and like it's always a very toxic environment.
Yeah, that's why I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah, it's just annoying. I don't know, like it just to me, and then I feel like I don't know the things Venus was even just saying about it. Just I don't know. I just feel she's a bit entitled, but that's my opinion. And then
why don't we get Ponderosa videos anymore? Because like I wish we could have seen those dynamics of like
Ponderosa videos would clear a lot of that up.
We lost them in 42 because the Omer and Drea situation, correct? I think that's what happened. If you guys have heard, so Drea apparently in 42, she went around and spread some stuff about Omer to the rest of the jury before he got voted off, and just basically was like dragging his name through the mud, saying he said like racist stuff or something along those lines, from what I hear. And Omer basically alluded to this on RHAP and stuff, and CBS literally made Rob narrow down his exit interviews to like just an hour, and they literally made him edit it out. So, you know,
how lame is that?
Yeah, but that's basically why we don't have Ponderosa.
It's also so frustrating because like that season in particular had such a great discussion of race, and it just makes it seem like fake, because Survivor's like, no, we only want this thing to be seen. We don't want the full conversation. So it just makes it like it undermines that whole thing. Even though like that tribal council where they showed up and Drea and Marianne were like, we have to play our idols. Yes. Right? Like that was such a good, like that is one of the like most powerful things that reality TV can do. And instead they've just made it like a bunch of like idiots who don't know what they're doing. But like that moment was so good.
Yeah, for sure.
But then it makes it seem like that was overly produced. So that's frustrating.
Yeah. My last thing, and I'll say I also just don't like how they relegated, as you were saying, Kevin. I feel like Tevin and Soda really got the short end of the stick with things in the edit, and just like, to me, Tevin was one of the best characters of the season, and I feel like they didn't really give him his dues.
Tevin is one of the best castings in a while, because even if he's not a fantastic player, he's such a great reality TV personality.
Yes.
Like, he's ready for cameras to be on. And so, like, yes, put him on the show. And like, whether he does well or not, he's going to have a good time, and we're going to have a good time watching him.
Agreed.
So I don't like Tevin, like, at all. He was annoying, he was mean, he was toxic and rude basically the entire time. Like, it would cut to him and he's just laughing or making fun of people or claiming shit that he didn't even do. Like, it was borderline annoying me the entire time. I think it was good that he went when he did, because he was like cocky at the time. But I was getting tired of seeing it. It's like, people got tired of Venus, but I got tired of Tevin doing that. I like Venus, but not like not including any of her Twitter stuff. I didn't watch any of it, but just the show. I enjoyed Venus's point of view on her, like, people just not wanting to work with her. I think there are many things that, like, editing didn't show us about Venus. Like, there's clearly stuff that happened that put her on the outs that we just didn't see, and they were like editing her. But I liked just seeing this girl on the outs who's just like, people don't want to work with me, I will work with you, kind of thing. And just nobody did, because it's Venus and it's just Venus.
I feel like what we did see of her was her complaining that she was being excluded, and then she would go to the tribe when they were talking, and they would all be talking, and she would like try to like create a new conversation rather than join the conversation that was happening, rather than like be a part of the tribe. She wanted the tribe to be hers, is like how I saw everything she was doing. And I was like, well, that's why they don't like you, because you're not just like being one of them. You expect all of them to just do what you want to do. And like, and then she would go and play victim about it and be like, oh, they just don't like me. Well, like, yeah, because you're being annoying. And like, they would like, they showed, she would like come over and say things that like didn't fit in the conversation. And Tevin's like rolling his eyes at, like, I would have been rolling my eyes at her too, because like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? Like what? And like, she wasn't trying to make herself part of the tribe, is what I always got. And so then she like was mad she wasn't part of the tribe, like, bitch, try harder. But then like, because she's not on the loser tribe, she makes it further, and then she's on a tribe with a whole bunch of people. Like, they all wanted to take the credit for things. Like, Tevin wanted to take the credit, Liz wanted to take the credit, Venus wanted to take the credit, like, because they all have the same mindset of they need this resume when they get to the end, like, instead of having a different mindset that like they need to get to the end at all. Like, it's annoying.
Cameron, any rebuttal to that?
No, like, I see your point of view. It's just, I guess we can be entertained by different things, which is fine. Like, I think her train wreck was just kind of like, again, fun to watch. You just have so many train wrecks happening at once in a season. Like, usually you get like one or two people who are gonna like flame out like that. You casted 80% flame outs. And then you had like some main characters that were like coherent people, like Charlie, Kenzie, and then the rest.
Maria. And like,
no, Maria is the most villainous, unself-aware villain that we've had in the new era. Like, as it turns out, like a villain, but she just has no self-awareness that she is one.
Yeah. That's one of the other things that bothers me so much, is that the editing and the storytelling was terrible.
Yeah.
So like,
do we want to hit on that with, so, because a major thing I brought up to you guys is the whole Malcolm and Denise storyline between Charlie and Maria that I think just went nowhere by the end.
They gave Charlie two powerhouse comparisons in Malcolm and Denise, him and Maria. And then once she was on his options, he wanted options. Who else wanted options? Who else is known for saying they have a ton of options? Kim Spradlin. one of the most dominant players in the show, right? So like he's getting these comparisons for it to go nowhere. You know, it's not like if we had seen that they are comparing themselves to Malcolm and Denise from the beginning, but then we see them have like the bad, bitter breakup that we know they did have because we saw it, like, then we're invested in that. And then we're sitting there at the end, like wondering, like, oh God, like what's gonna, like, is she gonna vote for him or not? Like, oh man. And instead we just get like suddenly she's mad, but like, I thought they made up, but like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it just didn't make sense. You know, like they're sitting on the beach and like, no, it's okay. No, it's okay. And you only get a little bit of Charlie being like, but it's not, but only like this much. Like, it's just frustrating. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Show the bitter break.
I think I want to save like the full discussion till we get to the final three of that. But like, yeah, I'm just annoyed by that this was this major storyline and like just I thought where it was gonna go was gonna end with, yes, a predictable outcome, but one that made sense for that story that they were telling. And they just didn't tell it correctly when they knew what the outcome was going to be.
Like, you know that she's gonna be bitter. So show us in a way to where we don't know what's gonna happen. Instead of we know what's gonna happen. You know, like we know she's gonna be mad. We know she's mad at him. Instead of being like, we know she's mad at him, but does she still respect him? You know? Are you watching this in the mirror cam?
What I was going to say on that is basically, honestly, I lost my train of thought. Speaking of trains and train wrecks, though, can we stop? Like, here's the thing about season 46 and the new era that pisses me off the most. It's not even the fact the reunion doesn't exist anymore. It's not the three tribes. It's not the casting, the editing, the storytelling. It's the fact that you merge before you're ready to merge, and then you torture the poor castaways by dangling the merge in the spot on the jury in front of their face. Hey, here's that part of the game that everybody wants to get to feel like a complete Survivor player, because we don't invite you back unless you get to this point to come to the reunion, right? So they merge, and then guess what they do? We're going to split you into two teams, which is just two tribes. So why would you do that? Why would you even say the words merge if it's just going to be a tribe swap? So it's actually a tribe swap disguised as a merge so that one person gets voted out. And then you're like, okay, this time we're going to merge. There's like no hourglass twist or anything. You finally merge. What did you do? We're going to split you into two groups. And then you're both going to vote somebody out. And the first person voted out is not going to make the jury. So now you have two people who made the merge that didn't get on the jury that deserved their spot there. Like poor Mariah and Tim deserved a spot on that jury.
But do I really feel bad for either of them? Because I don't.
No, like I'm not saying they're amazing players or anything, but don't like that could have just been the pre-merge still. That could have just been two tribe swaps if you wanted to do that and then voted people out and then you can merge. Stop disguising you jumping the gun to the merge as this. It's not that. And it's just so frustrating to me because I would be so pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, my take on that is that from looking at the ratings, there's in the new era, there's been a jump at every merge. And so I think they're trying to like, oh, let's make the merge happen earlier so that like we get that bump earlier. You know, like I think that's what it is. But that's like stupid planning because now you're planning for a year in advance when like you're not planning for the game that's right in front of you right now. I mean, I would also say I know some people, I think I said this to Jake earlier, I know some people who have said the ratings for this are so great. I've heard it from two different people in two different ways. If you look up their week-to-week ratings, they are down from last season. They're way down from what they were at Winners at War. They're like half. And I watch a YouTube channel that goes over like the streaming Nielsen ratings they're always a month behind, but she goes over the Nielsen ratings based on streaming every week and goes over the top 10 every week. And Survivor is never in the top 10. So like there's clearly a ratings problem. And like doing this jump to the merge is not giving it a boost. So it's not working Survivor.
Yeah.
I just hate it. Like, just merge when you're ready, and then it's more entertaining and more rewarding for the players because you're not like even the first 2 seasons they let people make the merge, gave them buffs, and then took them away. It's like, stop this. This is like the part of the game that people like crave, and then you get to eat. That's another part of getting to that point of the game. And guess what you don't get to do now? You don't get to eat because only half of you get to eat because you really split into 2 tribes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that part sucks. There's no more merge feast. That used to be this big celebration for everyone who made the merge. And
well, can they all go to the sanctuary?
And you see them meet and like talk for the first time. Like you get to see everyone intermingle, but now you only get like a certain amount. And sometimes it's like certain people in a position in the game that they're going to jump or give information, but you'd rather have the whole tribe there so you can see people whispering and finally start to like, you know, get that dynamic, but they ruin it. And then it messes everything up. And then you get a shitty outcome.
Yeah. And like it feels like they're not doing like a genuine swap earlier because they don't want to ruin this dynamic of like the disaster tribe. So like they should at like 14 swap to 2 tribes of 7, but they don't want to ruin that like disaster underdog tribe storyline.
I actually think that's the exact like what you just said is something that people haven't picked up on. I think that's exactly why they're not doing a tribe swap early on, because they cast a specific tribe that's going to fall apart. Yes. And whatever happens with that fall apart tribe is either going to be good or it's going to be a disaster gold regardless. So you always have that to cut to, and then you have like the dominant tribes who are going to like fill out the merge later on, because then you can introduce their stories later on, and you always have more stories to introduce because you didn't have to focus on them. You had to focus on the Yanu tribe so much. That's why Banu got like 35 confessionals and it's like 4 episodes. But
2 episodes down.
You're totally right. And then they get close to the merge and they're like, well, people love a swap. People love the merge. Let's just do it at once and do it twice and screw people over. And then people have more despair in their hearts. And I just know if I got on, I'd get mergatoried.
It'd
be so depressing because like everybody would be watching it and they'd be like, oh, Cameron finally made the merge. Oh wait, he's not at the merge. Oh, they split into 2 tribes. Oh, his tribe lost. He's one of only 6 people who can get voted out, but everyone's gonna vote. And oh, they voted Cameron out. Anyways, that's a hypothetical that will never actually come true because I would win 100% of the time. And season 46, after all of this, I still think is better than last season because I would rather watch this than a dominant Reba 4 alliance any fucking day.
I never want to see this season again. I would say I would overall rank Thailand and Island of the Idols at the bottom because of the sexual assault things. Because I'm not okay with it.
But fundamentally, those seasons are still built and directed better. Correct.
But like my week-to-week watching experience was worse this season than either of those. Like even in Thailand, I'm watching week-to-week, like wondering if something's going to happen. Like Gabon, I'm watching week-to-week, just like what's going to happen, right? Like even if I'm not a fan of a lot of the people, I'm still like, oh, this is crazy. And this season, I'm like overwhelmed by the crazy. I'm like, I'm not enjoying this.
Yeah. Well, do we want to let's now we can go to the final 11 onwards, really. I mean, or let's go final 10 because this is where all the people start getting taken out with idols in their pockets and you have Q trying to quit the game. So I feel like we need to talk about Q here.
This isn't even the first time Q wants to quit the game.
Oh, because he wanted to quit in the pre-merge, right?
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like there were more examples. Like Jelinski said it was Q's idea to quit the sweat challenge beforehand.
I think it was both of their ideas too.
I agree. But like, I think the second Q even brought it up, Jelinski's like, please, let's quit. I'm going to quit. Like, it's fine. Whatever. But Q is like I genuinely don't know what his fans see in him, and like everyone can be a stan of whoever they want, but Q is single-handedly the reason I would rank this season at the bottom. Like if Q didn't exist in this season, I would put it even higher. Like I would fight harder for it. But the fact that Q is there until like the second last episode, and he is just so insufferable in so many different ways in strategy, gameplay, mentality, and everything he did since then, his jury questions, like everything he did.
Yes.
He's
did
unbearable now on
something to
social
just
media.
annoy me as a fan of the show. Like if I was on 46, I would be genuinely mad at myself that I got cast on season 46 because Q was there.
Yeah.
I've said this. So like these are the 2 seasons, 45 and 46 are the ones that like I got the call back from casting. And I am glad I wasn't on either one of them because they are both so bad that like I wouldn't want to be attached to them. Like I can at least see if I had been in Sean's place, a lot of the problems of the beginning of that season don't happen. But like, listen, the reason that Q was there the whole time is because they planned for him to be part of the disaster tribe. And unfortunately, Randon had to leave, had to be medevac. And so he ended up getting by. Like,
yeah,
he was supposed to be voted out. But like, that's the thing. Like, they're planning on him being voted out. Like, instead of giving us a full cast of people who could do well, they give us a whole bunch of duds.
Yeah.
So that they can just have an underdog story in one tribe. And it's so annoying.
Yep. Yeah. Q sucked this entire season.
Q sucks. Q sucks now. Listen, if he finds this video, come find me, Q. Come annoy me on social media.
Big mistake.
Everybody. Big mistake.
You gotta cancel Christmas.
The
Fuck
Q
off.
That
Fuck
cancel
your Q
Christmas
skirt.
thing, he said it like once in like the first couple episodes, and then you actually hear it throughout the entire season. Like he'll bring it up almost every episode. You'll hear cancel Christmas. And I think it's just he loved that quote before he went out there. And he just wanted to make sure it went in the edit. So he said it a whole bunch. And then it got put in more than expected.
Just like how Jeff wanted to push several every single episode for Jelinski.
No, several is funny. You know what? I'll stand by several. I think it's funny.
I won't
That
because
was
I
for
don't
me.
like Jelinski and I don't like him getting positive attention. People thinking like, oh, but he's iconic. No, he fucking sucks. And so
yeah,
you
because he was
repeating his
cast for the
line.
disaster tribe. Everyone on the disaster tribe exists for a reason. It's like even the Tika 3, like Jam, Caroline, and Carson.
Yeah.
There's a universe where that tribe also just fizzles out and none of them make it to the end. But then you also could have that with Bonu, Jess, and Jelinski getting to the end. It wouldn't be entertaining, but it would like you have the Carolyn type like dudsy people, you know? But Carolyn was entertaining. Like you get stars from it. Kenzie, Caroline, like you still get stars from the disaster tribe, but like they're put there because they're so out there. Like Jam calling people bitches and shit. Like that's hilarious. But like on other seasons, he gets voted out pre-merge because of his like that behavior, right? But on the disaster tribe, he thrives, and then he gets to the end and he can convince them.
But here's
he's so
the thing.
eccentric.
Yes, there are seasons where like Carolyn doesn't fit in and Carolyn gets voted out early. Absolutely, that happens. But Carolyn is a player who had potential no matter what. Banu has no potential, right? Like Jelinski has no potential. Like there are people on this season who had 0 win equity before the game even started. Like the speech that Jeff
anybody
gave,
can win Survivor. We know that.
No, that's the thing. And that's the thing. Jeff gave that speech at the beginning of this season that some of you can't. And it's like, yeah, some of these people really couldn't. They really couldn't. They had no chance from the moment they got off the boat because they sucked that bad. Like, and it's so like, that's what's frustrating is that like you have people like Jenny from 41 or 42.
42, yeah.
Like she was a great player who had a ton of potential. And then like, because of the drama that happened on that tribe, like she gets taken out. Like that sucks for Jenny, but that makes a better overall season. But like when you have these losers who are never gonna do well, it's annoying. Hannah, Brandon, Sean, like it's 2 seasons in a row of this.
Yeah. I don't know why.
And then you end up with Q and Liz making it to the end.
Yeah, there's a potential universe out there where Q, Liz, and Ben all sit at the end, and then they still have to vote for somebody there.
That would have been
For the
awful.
love of God.
Like the problem is
That does
people
not
want
draw.
to keep goats in the game, and then at the end you just get stuck. Like there's a chance that you just might get all goats, right? Like
Because they cast people who all have the same thought process. They all think the same. So they all think they're going to keep, they all think themselves that they're the genius, but they all think they're going to keep around these other weak players. Instead of having people who think about the game differently and are like, I'm annoyed by this person, so I'm voting them out. Like, I'm annoyed by Q. I don't care if I could beat him at the end. I'm annoyed by Liz. I don't care if I can beat her at the end. She's got to get, like, cast different types of people.
Yeah. I did want to say, so like let's hit on these people that get go out with idols in their pocket. So Hunter was completely avoidable. I will say I still enjoyed Hunter on this season. He seems like a great guy. I may not the greatest player clearly, but I enjoyed him not just because he was my winner pick, but like I think he was a fine casting choice, at least way better than a lot of the rest of this cast.
I think he was a fine casting choice, but I think again, this comes to the storytelling and the editing. You know what's going to happen to Hunter. You know he gets voted out with an idol in his pocket when he shouldn't, when he should have known to play it.
Yes.
Right? Like you know that from the time that you start putting this story together.
Mhm.
So don't lead us down this path of thinking that he's a genius. Right? Like you're showing us how he has all the puzzles. He has this whole like house full of survivor challenges, right? That he practices, right? You're showing us where like people, you're like purposely showing us people saying that he's not smart enough to do things and then he does them, right? Like you set him up for us as fans to think that he is a great strategic player to just be let down, and like not in a way that's entertaining. Like if we thought that he was just kind of the jock and he had the idol, then it would be surprising in a good way. Like oh man, like think about Simon from Australia.
Yes.
Lovable idiot. So like you can create characters with this footage to where like you don't make them seem like a genius, but they're still likable, and then you wonder what's going to happen with that, right? Like if you wondered like, well, geez, is somebody going to tell him? And like same thing when Tevin got voted. Like Tevin's his number one ally. He voted with Tevin at that tribal council, knowing Tevin was supposed to get votes.
Yeah.
You have the idol. You have immunity. You know that you and your number one ally are in trouble. To use it and make sure you take out Venus, who you know is causing problems for you, right? You know now that you've been winning challenges. You know you've been winning challenges. You know you're a big target because of it. You now don't have immunity. You know you're getting votes.
Yeah.
Play it. Because you're supposed to be a smart player. You're supposed to understand the strategy of Survivor because they have showed us that you know that. And instead, we just get disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, they did show him failing at guessing Survivor logos, which we all could.
annoying.
He messed up one really bad. He messed up one that was like, he put like, I want to say like Pearl Islands or something like way at the end. And that caused like his whole like season 8 to season like 30 to be off because they were all off by one because he had one that was in such a wrong place. And I was like, how do you have these challenges with these logos on them and not know this?
Well, he just started watching, I guess.
So same thing with Tiffany. Like Tiffany should have like where were like all these people just want to make a move to have a blindside on their resume. Like, why show us Tiffany having strong relationships with people who then vote her out without telling her to use the idol that they know she has? And she knows that people know she has it. So, like, she should know there's a chance she's going to need it. And she didn't even question it. She really sat there and thought at, 7? That she was going to...
Yeah.
Okay, at 8. So she gets voted out at 8. She really thought they all knew she had an idol and they were just going to let her hold it and then play it at 7. Like, she really thought that, like, why did you think that?
I don't know. That one is also baffling, knowing that she was a target at the Hunter vote, and then just I don't know.
You know your name has come up. You know that one of your supposed allies has thrown you under the bus.
Yeah.
You know, and you know you're down, like you're getting down to it. You're down to the final 8. Like 5 more people are being voted out. So like, and there was no question. She was like, well, I'm guaranteed 6 because I'm going to use this. Like, you are not guaranteed 6. Like, it's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me.
Here's what I'll say. I'm genuinely baffled at the fact that the Q smoke screen worked so many times in a row, because you watched it happen, then you watched it happen, then you watched it happen, and then you watched it happen to you. And it's like, the one that upset me the most is, no surprise, Q, because if I'm at that challenge and Jeff's like, if you win this challenge, you guarantee yourself a spot in the finale. If you get through tonight, you have a spot in the finale. It's no longer just the final 5. Like, you know, you're in the final episode of Survivor. You're going to get like a finalist edit. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get that final shot of Jeff talking about you and the things you've done. And like, you're in every episode of the season, you know, regardless if I think I'm getting votes or not. But Q did know he was getting votes.
Yeah,
like he
knows he's
knew
getting votes,
and
even if he doesn't get all
held
of them.
on to it.
It's
That's
so
what frustrated me, because I don't even care if I go to 5. I made it to the finale at least. You know,
that's one of the things that also makes me crazy, is that like the 2 who were the worst, who should have known,
Venus and Q.
So like, you're just now confirming that these people who have sucked and been annoying are also shitty players who shouldn't have been there. Like, it's so annoying, because obviously she's obviously getting Q's vote, and obviously people have been working with, like, she knows at what, 7 now, so she knows she's getting Q, which means she's probably getting Charlie and Maria, which means she only needs to get 1 more. Right? They only need to convince 1 more person. So like, whether it's Liz, whether it's Kenzie, whoever it is, like, only needs to convince 1 more person. And they have Ben there, who, like, why wouldn't Ben vote for that? So like, Venus, you should know to you use your idol. Make sure Q goes. And then Q, you have been getting votes. Tribal after tribal after tribal after tribal. And you are guaranteed to go to the finale, like Cam said, and you don't play it just for no reason. So like, it's not even a satisfying blindside, because I'm rooting against these people anyway.
Right.
So like, you just wasted an idol that somebody else could have had and used strategically. It's annoying.
Well, and there's seasons where you have these blindsides on people that you're rooting for. Like, I'm going to bring up Rupert and Pearl Islands. Like, everybody loved Rupert. You have this heartbreaking blindside at the final 8 of that season where Rupert just gets targeted, and you know from the beginning of the episode that this blindside is coming, and you're just like, I don't want this to happen, but it's going to happen. But you feel sad about it.
Even last season, they had Kelly, right? Like,
yes, Kelly was another good one.
Like, there is a satisfying blindside, and none of these were, because all of them just confirmed that these people were not as good as we thought they were. So why did you make us think that they were? I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I'd still watch this over 45. I think 45.
I wouldn't watch either.
Quitters. Not to like reopen old can of worms, but it's like, I can't help but compare the new era to each other.
Well, yeah.
And as train wrecky as this season was, I had entertaining moments at least where I was like, regardless, bamboozled by the editing team. I hope we don't get a 46 again, but 46 stands out in an interesting way to me. But the fact that they made casting choices and editing choices that they did drag that hope I have to like hold it higher in my rankings, and it just drags it down. Because it's like every time I think of the stuff I enjoyed, I think of Q. And then it's just my mind is flooded. And I'm like, oh no, that was all shit. Because I remember now Q was there and he was talking, and then that made that scene bad because I was enjoying it, and then he started talking. And then I was enjoying this jury question, and then Q started talking over them and interrupting. I'm like, can we just and the open you know what? I'm so done with everything the new era has introduced that I wish the new era was what they said it was, and they just change things every season. I'd rather be blindsided by every choice they make every season than have the exact same season with different people and stupid decisions. It's like, we don't need 26 days. I can go on about it forever, but like, change it up. Give us something different, because you know that the audience is upset. The people who have been watching for a long time are upset. We don't care about the new fans you're bringing in, because we'll make our kids watch the product if it's a good product. But you're making me sad when I watch my favorite show. I don't want to complain about Survivor. I want to come on here and talk about all the positives of the season, great winner, and like the enjoyable journey I had. But I didn't enjoy it as much as I could have because
it's my favorite show. It's my favorite show, and they're ruining it. It's so frustrating. I have watched this show since 2000. I DVR'd this show. That's how long I've been watching, when there was no such thing as streaming. I called in to the live after show that Richard Hatch and Dalton Ross did after Vanuatu, and I love this show. And I'm sitting here at season 46 just being like, this is one of the worst things I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you can be 46 seasons in and have good templates of good seasons that you've done. And then somehow you do these first 5 and you're like, the audience isn't really receptive and they're giving us a lot of complaints. What should we do for 46?
The same thing.
The same
Double
thing.
down.
But it's just like, how is that possible? Because you look at 30 to 39, you have so much diversity. You have so many different ideas and castmates and blindsides and twists and idols and like unique looking challenges. Like the idols look interesting, the necklaces look interesting, the immunity idols look interesting, right? And then you look at 20 to 29 and you're like, wow, they're all different. And like, there's so many different themes. Yeah, they did Blood versus Water twice, but one of them was like a Redemption Island. One of them was returning players. Like it was still different within the same concept. So it's proof that the production team can use the same kind of template and do something good with it. And then still the next season have a whole new template of Survivor to use. And then you get to the new era and you're like, how are we 6 seasons into it? And I feel like this could have all been the same season.
And here's the biggest problem. Here's what annoys me the most about that, Cam, is I've been joking all season that my favorite thing was probably going to end up being the preview for next season. Next season's logo is black, white, and green, right? And you've got bats, you've got skulls. It looks scary. It looks intimidating. And you know what you see during that? All shit set up with red, yellow, blue. Because they're going to have 3 tribes of 6 again. They're going to do it again.
Yep.
And also, it's just like, you got to watch how we reacted to 46. Like they just flew out a week ago. So like you could have repainted all of those red, white, and blue sets easily. You could have reprinted buffs. You're literally Survivor. You give them the most money for buffs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so confusing. And the preview for it is like, obviously you have probably 6 days to work with in your preview. They took footage probably from just the first day. So like they highly edited that. And then they made it all production, right? So it's like, forge your own story. Like they're chiseling, they're writing, they're painting. Like I love that. But guess what? It's not gonna be that. It's gonna be the new era with different primary colors and 6 tribes, and then they're going to do the Mergatory, and then they're going to do no family visit. They're going to do the reunion on beach. Like, it's all going to be the same. Guarantee there's still Beware advantages. Like, at least they did a birdcage in 44, but it was still a Beware, I think, or something.
Yeah, it was still a really.
There's going to be like this would be a perfect season to do a black and a green tribe, to have 2 tribes, and like make the Shipwheel Island, if you're going to do it, like make something about that, like scary seeming, right? Because you have this like scary looking thing, right? Like do something with that theming.
Yeah.
And they don't. It's just like the fall season is going to be red, yellow, blue, and the spring season is going to be purple, orange, green. They're all going to have 4-letter, 2-syllable names. Gaga, goo goo, beep bop, right? Like
in a couple months.
Buku, lava, nana. Like it's gonna like.
The problem is like also, you know, it's not just like you're collecting the new era. They're doing it themselves. Like, they've collected the new era as its own thing, right? Like they've deemed it the new era. But the problem is in months from now, in years from now, it's all jumbled together in my head already. But like 41 to like 49, it's all going to be one big blob of, oh wait, that happened in 45, not 43, because they're all the exact same, and they don't have individual themes or things that differentiate them, right? So it's like, I can think back to 30 to 39, and I can tell you who was on the seasons, what twists were there, because they're so different. And when I think, oh, Island of the Idols, I would never think of Edge of Extinction players. But if I'm thinking of 46, I might think of somebody who was in 42 and forget that they weren't on the same season.
Yeah. You could if they're going to make such a big deal, forge your own path. Make the first episode that you have to complete a challenge. When you like, the order you complete the challenge is the order you choose your tribe, right? Like, make some kind of choice involved in it instead of so much predetermined that they say, like, and again, you have this like kind of spooky theme, like make it seem scary, make it seem like when you're editing it, like, oh man, like what am I gonna do? Like, you know, like do something with it.
Yeah.
Like if you pick the black tribe, you're gonna have to live in a cave. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. You know, like anything to like make it stand out. And they're literally looking for idols in the same place every season.
Yeah, because they're sucking.
Also, you shouldn't. It didn't happen, but the fact that it could have, like, you should not let Maria potentially find an idol to play at the last vote of the season. Like, it was like a narrative that Maria's looking for an idol and she could have played an idol and saved herself at the final 5. It's the last vote of the season. Nobody should be safe with an idol. Like, if you're forcing fire making on us, don't let them play an idol to get to forced fire making, or else you're getting another Ben Driebergen, and it's not going to be good.
No, and that's something I want to give credit to with Kristen and Shane and Vanquish is Kristen and Shane don't want there to be someone idling themselves to the point of like that last round. They wanted the idols to be done by 6, and that's something that I very much respect that Vanquish does, and I think that's like a good decision for them to make for that.
Here's the thing, though. I hate forced fire making.
Oh, so, I don't like that either.
You know what I love is a Final 4 situation where people are like, the biggest threat is like, say Maria, so we vote out Maria because we can do that here. You know what I mean? And I love when it's actually a split of 2, and on this rare occasion they vote for each other, and you have to send your teammates into fire making and hope they get to the end, right? That was what was fun about forced, like, not like fire making in general, but now you force it. It's not entertaining. And then you get people like Maria being like, I saw the fire in your eyes when you made fire making, and that's why I voted for you.
Yeah,
don't vote for anybody because they won fire making. There are so many things in the game.
I have my opinion on that. Let's save that for when we get to it. So
I would just also like to say about the Final 4, not to toot my own horn, one of the best Final 4 minutes in orgs that I have done recently was when I played the Milestone Mini and we got the 2-1-1 split, right? Like to me, and I hate making it about myself, but like that was great. Like even going back and watching the live comments come up as I did it, like that
Yes.
people were like, "Wait, who's he lying to?" Like that is entertaining, Survivor.
That was the
is
best
entertaining.
move of that season, and that was your winning move. So like,
But like, you take that possibility away.
yeah,
You just take it away. So like, imagine if they could, if someone could do that, if someone could pull that off, that's brilliant, and they deserve the credit for it. But instead, you just like cut them off at the knees.
The problem is if the day they stop doing forced fire making, people are going to be like, see, you did that because you wanted to convince the world that you didn't do it for Ben. You didn't introduce this twist so that Ben would win. So you just forced it down our throats for the near future
for a decade.
because you wanted to justify that decision.
For a freaking decade.
I don't even at this point. I don't even care because get rid of it. It's not good.
Yeah.
Like Jeff says fire in the game is your life, but then he doesn't even give fire to the starting tribes anymore if they're not doing well. Like how would Kenzie be great at making fire by the end of the game if she didn't have fire for most of the game? Like she never got to make it or practice because like I mean she did eventually. But like you're at like Jeff always says, by this time in the game you should know how to make fire. You're playing Survivor, you know what I mean? But he tortures them, and they don't really need to make fire most of the time unless it's to boil their water because they don't have rice. What are they cooking? They don't have anything.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Let's talk about this finale, and then we can talk about this and kind of the decisions made here. But like, I did want to touch on with the Maria vote with Kenzie and Liz teaming up in the challenge. I know it's been done before. I was just talking to Kristen about this, and like, I know it's been done before. Blood versus Water. Laura Moret helps Tina beat Vetus at Redemption Island. You have Rick Devens. Chris Underwood gets Julie to win immunity for Rick Devens, who uses an idol to save himself. Whatever. But I don't know. Like it. So for this one, yes, I think it's fine to have it be allowed. I think, in my opinion, Liz should have had to finish her puzzle before she could run down and like. To me, I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. I'm not saying it for Maria at this point. I'm just saying I feel like it was just weird to see Liz like not even like close to being in that challenge, and she goes down and gets this, and I don't know. That's just my opinion, but like I'm not even mad for Maria.
Here's my hot take on the whole situation. I think it's fine. For this reason, if you're at the final 5 and your social game is good enough to warrant somebody giving up their shot at immunity to help you get to the final 4 of a solo game where there's one sole survivor and you've convinced somebody else to help you guarantee your spot further because this person's a threat, I think it's fine. I don't think it should be allowed in like every challenge. Like obviously if you're playing some motion, you can't go over and like help somebody catch their balls. But like I think there are exceptions. I think they need to be like clear on what those exceptions are and what kind of challenges these guidelines are bended. But I personally was entertained by the fact like Liz didn't even say anything. Like she was like, you need the numbers in your plank. Okay, I'm not going to win anyway, and just took off to like get Kenzie's plank. I think that is super entertaining. I feel for Maria so bad because like to have 2 people team up on you at the final 5 of Survivor when you have such a chance at winning the game and you're a challenge beast and like this takes it away from you, like multiple things. And it's just, I understand it. I can see why people are upset about it, but also I think it's a great telling of Kenzie's social game somebody did this for her.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that that's a great thing for Kenzie. I guess I'm like biased against Liz, so I'm just like
No, I'm also okay with it. And so here's the thing: is so I also watch Big Brother, and so one of the like greatest moves in Big Brother was when it was way back in I think season 5, maybe 6. I forget which season it was exactly, but it's one of the early seasons. So in the very beginning of Big Brother, it was all public vote. The second season, there was no power of veto. The third season, they introduced the power of veto, but if you won it, you couldn't use it on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it was a very different thing. So it wasn't until like season 4 that it started to be a thing, right? So I think it was season 5, finally, when you get down to the final 5 in Big Brother, right? You have the head of household, they have to nominate 2 people. So let's say it's, the 3 of us plus the pirate plus, I don't know, Neo, right? We'll let him be the victim here, right? And so like I win HOH, right? And I get to nominate 2 people. And so I therefore nominate Cameron because he should have been voted out pre-merge, and Pirate Sarah because fuck Pirate Sarah, right? So I nominate those 2. The thing is with the veto now, if Neo wins it, Neo can take one of those 2 down, and I have to put up Jake.
Right.
So like what can happen at the final 5 there is those 3, so those 2 nominees and one other person can come together and make a deal and help that person win to guarantee that now I have to put up Jake, and then they're going to be the 2 votes. So like Jake is going to go. Right. So, and because I'm okay with that, I'm therefore okay with it happening here. You know what I mean? I have to be consistent. I have to be able to say, okay, if you can strategically work together in this challenge, I have to therefore say it's okay to strategically work together in this challenge. And then the other brilliant part of that plan, if that works out in Big Brother, is that then I can't compete in the next head of household. So the 3 people who now just made an alliance, made a deal, are now the only 3 who can win. So like I have to be nominated the next week.
Yeah, exactly.
So to bring this back to Survivor, I think the dynamics they robbed from us at the final 4 is not worth the fire making challenge.
Agreed.
Because they would be different every season. We probably would have had like 2 or 3 fire making showdowns by right now that would have been way more worthy and epic of scenes than forcing it and just getting like all this shite. Like imagine Jesse convincing someone to vote out Gabler or something, and he gets to the end and Jesse sweeps. Like huge. But like we would never get that because Gabler's amazing at fire, and you have to force in the biggest threat with the greatest fire maker, right? So we lose Jesse and then we get a Gabler win out of nowhere, and that's a bad taste.
And then it also like robs, like it robs so many people. Like Liz is a bad example because Liz sucks, but like Liz isn't gonna be able to make fire. Like she. Again, someone who shouldn't be there has a risk thing where like it's hard for her to flick the thing. So like she's not gonna make fire. Plus she just sucks in general. So like you rob them of the ability. I like a better example would be Kara from David vs. Goliath, right? Like or Lauren from Island of the Idols. Like people who were good players who like could have convinced it. Like Lauren could get Tommy to vote with her, and like it could be a tie. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like. And like Dean and Nora might vote for Tommy then, like, right. Like, it robs people who have potential from being able to like have their own agency. Right. And just gives it to a challenge winner.
Even the audience shock would have been more great than forced fire making in 46. Like if Ben wins immunity and then goes to Kenzie and Charlie and says, I think Liz is the biggest threat and we should vote her out. And Liz gets voted out 3-1. Like the audience is like, why would Ben do that? Liz is so clearly not the biggest threat out of the 3 of them. So like, why would he do that? And that's still more entertaining than him having to choose between Kenzie or Charlie to go in and face Liz in fire making. Like it's just not entertaining to me.
I also think it's more
you can get that 3-1 vote and we're just like, why would you do that? Or you get a blind side of one of the bigger threats because that's just how.
Or you get Kenzie and Liz being like, wait a minute, we have a chance to take out Charlie, who's a big threat, and so now like
and then force fire there.
You force fire there, or maybe like you convince like you create a 2-1-1 split, and so then like those 2 are able to say like, yeah, we tricked the 2 boys and we got out the biggest threat. Like. You take so much of their agency away and just give it to a person because they want to challenge, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
forced fire making has ran its course a long time ago, and I think it's just
It never belonged there in the first place.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I was trying to be
I
nice.
will-
I feel like to it.
I do want to just jump back quickly before like we move on to like the finale kind of stuff, because if we don't, we're probably not going to talk about it. The sanctuary, where good things happen, is boring.
I hate
it's
the
not fun. Like
It's the
you're in Fiji, you're in beautiful Fiji. I'm sure you can have a reward at a waterfall with a picnic. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to go to this kind of nice looking shack with a hammock every time. And it's like, it's still a nice thing. Like you can still go to the sanctuary every now and then, but like bring a yacht or like more helicopter rides or, literally
rides.
anything.
Helicopter rides.
Like bowling,
Boat-
like just random
boat tours, like a yacht
activities
tour.
you can do.
Look at season 14,
But like
Fiji, the first one in Fiji, and how many different rewards there were. Like
you can just get more creative, and like it's not even a money thing. Like I remember I was listening to On Fire with Jeff Probst, where he talked about why doing the auction in 45 isn't coming back in 46, and he's like, we honestly, it's just like a lot of time to set up, and like who wants to do all that? I'm like, you put desserts on a plate and put a cover on them, and you put a stand up. Every single challenge you build or reuse, you could even reuse assets and just put stuff there. It is not hard to set up an auction or the like complexities of an auction. Even so, you're not feeding these casts in the new era. So being nice to them and just giving them like $500 to like bid on food items and only food items with no advantages is fun and entertaining, Like it's just a fun thing to do before an immunity challenge. Like not everything has to be to kill these people.
One of the we know that the auction can be great because look what happened it wasn't even a great season, but look what happened in Mike Holloway, right? When he said like, okay, yeah, let's all do it. And then he took the money back. Like, no, he wasn't going to do it because he wanted to have the money for the advantage, right? Like that was a game-changing moment because of the auction. Like it has so much potential, and they just like, oh, we don't want to set it up. We don't want to have to bake a cake. Like,
yeah, like come on,
fuck all the way off. Like,
another thing. Just speaking of like the laziness of the production team, just a little bit. Like if I'm ever on the show, you're not lazy. I love you, but I would not be happy if I finally completed my dream of finding an idol. I unwrap it, and it's a string with 2 beads on it.
yeah,
I would look at that.
Look at my idol.
Like, I'd look at the camera like, where's
the rest of it?
Idol? Like
the cheap looking microphone necklaces that they all wore were bigger than that. Like,
yeah, like, but like I understand you want people to fall for fake idols more or whatever, but people were already falling for fake idols when it looked like a stick. You know what I mean? Because idols could be anything. They could look like anything. They could be this little big. They could be this big on like your tribe mast, right? You don't know.
Or you think,
but now you know that it's just beads in a string. Like now you've not got creative at all. So somebody can just like, I come in with like a sweater that has beads on it. I cut those off before anybody sees it. Before we get to the beach, I get there, I tie it up, I pull it out at tribal counts. Everyone's gonna think it's real because like there's only like a 60% chance that's real anyway. Because every idol could just be a bead on a string.
Give them more shit that either they can make into fake idols or they could like think are idols. Simon in Heroes vs Villains in Australia, who found the thing that was actually a
cookie idol.
It was an idol.
That's
right?
That annoyed me so much. Don't make it a clue. It's just it looks like an idol. Like that's not a clue. That's to fool him to make him think that that's an idol. Like,
but like
you're stupid. That pissed me off.
But like, give them different things so that they don't know what an idol is, and give them things that they could use to say something. Like somebody could have, if it wasn't dumb Simon who got it, sweet lovable Simon, if it wasn't Simon who got it, somebody else could have found it, been like, it didn't come with anything, so it can't be an idol, but could have used that as a fake idol.
Yeah.
Like could have gotten the real idol, like wrap that up in the idol thing and re-hit it, and then somebody thinks that's the, like there's so much better potential than to be like, oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's my first idol I've ever found. Like, fuck off.
Tiny hand idol.
I see, but finding that I would be fine. But like, I just like I'd have to fake my reaction because I'd actually be so disappointed. You know what I mean? Like, I would want my idol to like be like tattooed on my body or something, but I wouldn't if it was a bead on a string.
Right. Give them the shit on the flag that they can cut off to make a fake idol with, so that like you don't know it's an idol, but like this fucking like it's not even big enough for a friendship bracelet.
Like you're ruining the creativity of people who make fake idols too, because now they don't even have to try hard.
Freaking Bob Crowley made a really good looking fake idol in Gabon. Like,
you hear that, Pirate Sarah? That one's for you.
Yeah, for
right.
Pirate.
And like again, because he's a different person who comes from a different perspective, like also knew how to like make an adhesive while in Gabon to stick things to it to make it look more ornate, because he's not just the same fucking person as everybody else in the cast.
Yes, exactly.
I'm sorry to rant and like go back, but like we would have just skipped over those, and I'm pissed about Sanctuary and the idols, and just the overall bones of the new era, regardless of an entertaining cast in certain things. Like the bones, what like they set up, the structure is not good. Like they just need to change the structure.
This is not a Maren Morris song because the bones are not good.
Yeah,
it's just so frustrating because they have time to change it, and like Survivor's always been altering and changing itself and reinventing itself and the wheel and everything, and then for no reason, after they had the break and they came up with all these cool ideas to try out, they seemingly haven't tried any of them out after 41, and they said, oh, that didn't work. Like he actively said that didn't work, and then kept the structure the same for every single season we've gotten. And the preview for 47, like I said, I was actually so hyped, and pointing out that it just looks like the same bones again, regardless if I'm excited for the cast and the forge your new path or whatever they're going to do with that. I know it's going to be the Sanctuary where good things happen, boring idols, a forced fire making, like the Mergatory, the Disaster Tribe, the blah, the blah, the blah. So I'm like, it's almost spoiled it for me because I know what we're going to get. I know the product that's going to be put on my TV, but I hope I'm proven wrong. Like, even if it's 3 tribes, like we know it is, I still hope that they've changed some fundamentals about the new era.
Yeah.
This close to celebrating season 50, you know?
We can hope. I think let's talk about this final tribal council. A couple of my thoughts just in general. So first off, I want to say I like that most of the jury members got to actually ask questions. Clearly not all of them, and clearly you still had Q open in his big mouth. But I liked that. The other thing I want to say, I mean, again, Kenzie completely deserved her win. I do think she did a good job at swinging someone like Tevin over, who I do think was absolutely on the fence. So personally with the Maria and Charlie thing, Charlie has said in Exit Press that like him and Maria don't have as good of a relationship, and she's kept changing her story as to why she didn't vote for him. I didn't buy into her answer in the after show that she saw the fire, as we've alluded to, saw the fire and Kenzie and all this other BS. I just didn't buy into it. I absolutely think Maria was bitter, and it's just ridiculous that she screwed over her number one ally when she was gunning for Charlie just as much as, when he took her out. So it's just, I just don't buy it. I think Kenzie deserves to win, but I think Charlie deserved to win just as much. And I don't like that fire making is now considered like this big move that you're required to do in the new era in order to like have the best chance to win. And not everybody that's made fire has won. There's been a couple that haven't, but you're thinking about it, and the jury is apparently so impressed with this, the fire making, that it, gets people to vote for someone. I just think that's ridiculous. And what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, and then the money argument of like, this person needs the money more. I just don't buy. I think everybody needs the money, or most everybody, not everybody, but I don't like that. So apparently we're not taking, Charlie's game into account or Kenzie's game into account when we're basing our votes. Apparently Maria and Q can just look and see that Kenzie apparently needs the money, and that's the reason for her to win instead of looking at her game.
To be fair, that's always been a reason to vote for somebody. It's like some people are like your personal story or why you need something is the reason that you get the vote. Like, oh, we're voting for you because you're having a baby or you're single, blah, 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 or Jeremy, or, my mom has cancer. Who knows what the reason could be. But like they asked, Kenzie answered the question very well. And that does pull in votes regardless of if I was on the jury and I'm voting strictly on gameplay and strategy. It could sway the Marias and the Qs, which is why it's an interesting show and dynamic, but like it still feels wrong because we never got to see the fallout kind of thing or why Maria did what she did. Like again, not having Ponderosa and seeing like the jury interact and like things they say and why they might be voting where they're voting regardless as they find out information. Like we got that little cut of like the jury quickly talking, but like make that more than like you have an hour and a half or a 2-hour finale. Like you have more time to show us the jury's thoughts. And then you can cut to Maria and her definitely explaining where her head's at least going into it. But you confuse the audience, right? Like all of a sudden you give us this bombshell that, oh wait, Maria didn't vote for Charlie during the after show. And then you have to watch Charlie.
So devastated.
So out of it. And I hate that for them. Like no time to decompress at all. He's just devastated. And you think about all the things that you could have done while you're being asked questions and trying to be there for the person that won that you're happy for. But like,
and as a positive, I was positive on Maria going through this season. You guys know. But then going into this finale and the way she's acting towards Charlie after that vote, and she's just stone cold, just doesn't care about his emotions. It seems like you can see it in her, body language and her facial reactions. And it's just, for me, I just felt like it really annoyed me. And like, I don't know, for how devastated Charlie was, it just.
Right. I would say in terms of like the money thing, like Cam said, it's always been a thing. I would say it's more of a storytelling thing for me of like, if Kenzie's there for her family because she doesn't have a lot of money and this is like she needs, like, why aren't we being told that throughout the season? You also have a person on the season who's bragging about how much money they do have. Whether or not they really do is apparently up for debate. But like, you can juxtapose those two, right? Like, that is a storytelling device, right? Like, and they don't have to be bitter enemies to juxtapose those two stories, but like, there's no storytelling.
I'll use an example off of that because like when we watched Second Chance and Jeremy, like you knew he was going to bring up his wife being pregnant at home because he alluded to it multiple times throughout the season and like walked off on his own when people would talk about their kids and have this little moment to himself where he would like talk about it, like you knew that was a huge reason he was there and how he was going to convince the jury. But like, again, you don't get these cuts of the cast nowadays.
Right. And like, but you have a longer show. So how are we not getting it? It's so frustrating. But like,
that's what I don't get. Like, that's why I'm so confused with how tribal councils are edited now. Cause like you're trying to blindside the audience more than you used to. Like we used to go in with like, we knew the handful of options that could happen tonight. This could happen, this person could play an idol, and then that could happen. But now we go in with like this one idea and maybe like a sub idea, and then they blindside us with what actually happens. And we're like, oh, how did that happen?
Right.
But yeah, I would also say this was the worst example of why I do not like the live reading of the votes and reunion right there, right away, because we've been fortunate that it hasn't happened with other people, but like Charlie, like I was sad for, again, like I felt bad for Ben earlier. Like I felt bad for Charlie that he's like put in this situation and like for our entertainment, he's like having to sit there and like, again, not to make it about me. Like I know how frustrating it was in the moment when the votes got read during Vanquish Second Chances. It's a tie. And I know at that point, I know Jenny's going to vote for Mike. Like, I know that. There's not even a point, even if I could argue, there's not even a point in arguing. I know she's going to vote for him. And like, to have to sit there and just like maintain my composure, like shit, I just lost this. I had this in the bag and I just lost this. Right. And that's for a fun, free org that I do in my spare time after work. Like, these people live this for almost a month. And like, you're just putting him through this like devastation and having to try to maintain his like not breakdown for our entertainment. And like, it's actually just for you to be cheap. It's just for you to be cheap.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Imagine, and like, it would all be so much different too if it was not that, if the votes aren't read until later. Charlie has time, not knowing the outcome, to be able to watch and see like Maria's perspective, which should be told better, but like he has a chance to see it, and so then he's not as shocked by it. He has time to decompress. He has a whole year, because they film it in the spring. This one airs in the spring, so he has a whole year to like come to terms with, you know what, I might not win, and that's okay. And so then when it gets read and he doesn't win, he's happy for Kenzie, and he's not just sitting there trying his best not to cry, you know, like. Yeah. And Maria has the chance to be like, you know what, I was really bitter in that moment, and you know, like, she has the time to reflect on it. But because it's all done right there, they have to maintain these fronts. Like, Maria has to maintain this front that if she wasn't bitter, because she said she wasn't bitter, but like, you can just say you were.
Yeah, just say it at that point.
And like, it's fine. And like, if you have that time, you have that reflection time, you have that ability to watch yourself before you make a statement on it, like,
yes,
then you're not trapped, you're not pigeonholed into this one excuse. And it's like, this is the most extreme example of why that's not a good idea in terms of taking care of your players.
Yeah. And
I think, sorry, go ahead.
You can go.
I was just gonna say, I think Charlie said it best when like Jeff was asking him questions. Like, you're listening to him read the votes, and you're sitting there after just playing this game, regardless of like you thinking you're gonna win or not. The votes are being read, and there are at least 3 Charlies, right? Like at the third Charlie, you start thinking, my life's about to change. You know, like, this is the moment that my life changes, and I've done it.
Yes.
And then the votes don't come your way. You know. And then immediately, within a couple minutes, Jeff asks who voted for who, and you look over at your number one ally that you just played with like 2 days ago, and she said she's going to vote for you.
Yes.
And she didn't. And then you're listening to her reasons, and now the person who you thought was going to be convincing the jury to vote for you didn't even vote for you. So that means that she didn't tell any of these people to vote for you. So there's so many reasons you lost that's not even your fault, because the number one you sent to the jury who's supposed to help you didn't help at all, and then voted against you, and was the reason you lost, because they literally asked Ben on the Jeff Probst podcast who he would vote for, and he said Charlie.
Yes.
Right.
So
right.
It's a big deal, and poor guy had to live it right there and then. Like, if he had time to live it out and not know, and like, you kind of build yourself up, like, it's okay if I lose, it's okay if it's close, it's okay if said person doesn't vote for me, and then you have them, they're all cleaned up, because after seeing them all decrepit and like Ben not being able to think and stuff, you get to see them months or a year later, and they're all cleaned up, they're ready for the finale. You have the whole cast there. You can ask Jelinski about why he threw the hourglass and stuff at the beginning. Like, you get to do these things, and then they sacrifice all of these questions. Like, I remember so many pre-merge things that I wanted to be asked throughout the new era to like the pre-merge people. Like, you can ask Matt why he climbed that rock and fell off. You know, you can ask all these questions, but now you can't, because you don't even invite them, and then you don't even allude to them. Like, they're like, all these people got voted out with idols this season. They did a flashback of every single one of them except Jem, and I'm like,
right.
Why wouldn't you show Jem?
Yeah.
You don't even have to invite her to the finale, but you could have showed her clip of her going home with the idol in her pocket, because she's part of that record-breaking moment. And it just makes no sense why there's pre-merge erasure and all of these things, and why they do the reunion on set. And then, like, you can fly out their loved ones now. There's no reason not to, because it's not COVID anymore. It's not COVID. You don't need to do these certain things. It doesn't need to be 26 days. It doesn't need to be short. It doesn't need to blah, blah, blah. because you did these so that you could get Survivor out during COVID. That's why you made these sacrifices, and that's why we accepted, oh, it's okay that this is 26 days. It's okay this is awful for 41 and 42 because you did it during COVID, and that's understandable. And then they didn't go back, and they didn't make any necessary changes when they got free reign again.
Right. You couldn't do, like, I understand them doing the live reading right there and the reunion right there because of what happened with Winners at War, because of COVID, they weren't able to have the reunion. They weren't able to have, they couldn't even have them all there. I understand you don't want that situation again. That situation's not happening.
Yes.
Like it's not happening. So you don't have to do it. It's just cheap and lazy.
Right. Before we hit our rankings, because I think we need to get there, but I did want to say, to your point, Kevin, about you talking about second chances in that moment, I felt, decently similar during Power Grab and just having to go through that and going through the final tribal and realizing, okay, I'm not going to get these people's votes, but then still getting, a few votes and just being like, if I could have just won 2 more people, it just, you have that feeling and then you just want to get out of there because you want to go decompress and get it away from. So it just, I feel the same way.
Here's one thing I'll say about the cheap after show stuff, right? Like they're doing it to save money, but whatever all the reasons are that they're doing it, I guarantee you don't even need to do the reunion the way you used to. You don't need to rent out a place in New York and have a huge audience. If you they've proven they can build a set like in Jeff's garage and Winners at War. You know what I mean? I guarantee you, if you kitted out Jeff's garage for the end of the season, all the cast would sign up to show up and do it there, right? Like it could still be later on. It could still be on like the set that you build, wherever you want to build it. Not even all the cast has to fly out if they don't want to, but you get everyone, you get them. It's just like there's so many ways to do it that you don't need to sacrifice it anymore.
Yeah.
And it hurts the cast. Like they're not happy doing it. It's not
supposed to be one of CBS's best shows, like flagship shows. They have sound stages.
Yes.
Like that company has access to sound stages. You could quickly and easily build a tribal council set and just do it there. And even if you don't have an audience, or if the audience is just really small and it's just like the family of people who are there, like even just the production crew is the small audience. Like you could do it very easily, and they just don't want to.
Yeah. Well, let's hit our rankings because this has been a long podcast on 46.
You know what else was long to get through, Jake? 46.
Yeah, the actual season. Yep, exactly.
This is probably less mind-numbing than getting through 46. So,
yeah,
I know. Poor Jake is gonna be up till 1 a.m. editing this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna basically. I don't really
just drop it raw.
I mean, I'm gonna just cut out like certain parts and whatnot, and just go for it. Anyway, so let's rank it. So I'm already gonna guess where this is gonna go, but here's our bottom 5 currently, and we'll see if 46 falls in here. Last place is Thailand, then Island of the Idols, South Pacific, Redemption Island, and Ghost Island. That is currently our bottom 5.
There's no other new era ones down here?
Apparently not. No.
What's the lowest new era?
Let me check that. The lowest new era is season 41, which is right above Ghost Island.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I would. The only other one that I'm like, should it be above this one is South Pacific because of the creepy cult religious stuff.
Yes.
But Sophie's such a good winner.
And I also like Jim Rice, but I'm kind of biased towards that.
Right.
Sorry, it goes Thailand, then what?
Thailand, then Island of the Idols, then South Pacific, then Redemption Island, then Ghost Island, then 41.
Honestly, I arguably hate Q more than Dan.
I don't know if I would. It's a different kind of.
It's a different kind of hate, but like when I watch Island of the Idols, I'm still more entertained by the story and the players.
Yes. I haven't rewatched Thailand in many years. I remember Thailand as being more entertaining than this. However, I would just personally I couldn't put the seasons where like a big part of the narrative is
you're right.
Sexual assault. I can't put that above.
But then
this.
Here's what I'll say. I'll put it right above those two, but I don't think like I really like as much as I like Kenzie as a player, regardless, her season is tainted by all the shit.
Yeah. I mean,
I think Kenzie's a great winner, regardless of what season she wins in the history of Survivor. But like the fact that it had to be 46, it sucks for her because she's one of the positive things about the season.
Yes.
But like, it doesn't mean that her season is good. Like, I like Tommy, doesn't mean his season is good, right?
Right.
So like,
no,
the things I like I said, don't make it good.
I would only put it above those two, and I would consider, because of just the creepy cult stuff, maybe putting it above South Pacific, but that's it.
But even with South Pacific, it's like, again, one of those seasons where you get an interesting thing that doesn't ever happen really again, right? Like,
and I like the Aussie storyline in South Pacific. Like, at least it's
like I think there's probably more good if I think about it. Yeah, no, I'm just putting it above those two.
I will just put it above those two.
I agree with that. So I
can still be entertained by the Banu boot episode, but like still be like, it shouldn't have happened. I'm glad it did, because I was entertained by the fact that somebody can play that bad and just be that targeted, and it was entertaining for me. I don't think it should happen again, though.
Yeah. So out of 46 US seasons, and right now we have the first two Australian Survivor seasons thrown in there, which hopefully someday we will continue that. But so we have 48 seasons there. 46 is the third worst season of Survivor that we've talked about.
So bad. It's so bad. I'm not like, it deserves to be that. The season as a whole is so bad, from pre-production to finale.
Yeah. Yep. And
because that finale reunion is so bad too.
Yeah. And
it should be harder to find what would make the show better, but it's like, I could give you a list, and I think we did.
Easily.
Like, we described all the like, if you change these things, you're getting a better product. Just do it, please. We want to love our favorite show more than we do right now.
I was just holding this up real quick to just remind people, like 2019, before the new era, when Survivor still had potential.
When Island of the Idols aired.
But I mean,
Edge of Extinction.
I would watch Edge of Extinction multiple times before I ever watch this shit again.
Yeah.
I like Edge of Extinction.
Edge of Extinction is interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just I mean, there's a reason I literally, when we did the first 45 seasons like last year, that I literally rewatched the first 40 without any problem, and then I literally stopped at the new era. So
to be fair, it's a little bit of recency bias, like that you don't want to watch it as much right now. But I think even when we're like 60 seasons deep, like, there's a new Dark Ages. Like, that title has been revoked from earlier. It is now the new era, needs to be renamed the new Dark Ages.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. I agree. All right. So then, before we close out here and obviously tease what we're gonna do next week, starting next week, let's talk about just impressions of what we know about season 47. We kind of touched on it earlier, but like, with the cast that got revealed, there's a lot of podcasters, a lot of people like a little bit like us, and there's an RHAP podcaster that's on there, Aisha, I believe. I've seen her on like the RHAP drafts and stuff, so that's kind of cool. And then like, apparently there's some like orgers on there, so like, there, maybe it'll be a little bit more interesting, but with the format and everything, I'm sure Survivor will find a way to screw that up. So
I did play an org with Rachel, but we didn't get to interact because I got voted out pre-merge. I was 6th person voted out, so we never got to work together.
Weird.
So while we were on the same cast for my first ever org in 2020 on Instagram, we never talked or interacted ever. So
I was also in a follow-up season of that org and did not know that she was a part of it. No, I mean, I would say this one really just hurt my overall enjoyment of the show, because I don't have very high expectations for the format. I think it's going to be the same stale format.
Yep.
So that bothers me. And then, as much as I like to see people like me on the show, I don't only want to see me. Like, this is a lesson that I learned in life a long time ago. Like, I was a summer camp counselor, and so like it was like my supervisor said to me, she's like, it can't be all Kevins, right? Because if the only camp counselors are Kevins, then the kids who don't want to play the game that Kevin wants to play are bored, right? So like, you can't just have a whole bunch of super fan players who all like want to make the same types of moves, because it's boring. Right. That's not fun. You need a variety of types of people. And so yes, that's cool, but I am concerned that it's going to be, again, just more super fans who all just think that it's big moves and resume building, and we're going to have another one of these.
Yeah.
To be fair, we're 46 seasons into one of the most popular shows of all time. You know what I mean? Like, everyone kind of has an idea of what it's like, you know, so everyone can consider themselves a fan. And once you get called to be on Survivor, you watch a couple of seasons regardless, right? So everyone has an understanding. You'll never have like a recruit kind of season again, because even if recruits get recruited, they're going to watch the show before they go out. Right. So like,
I hear your concern, but like okay, if I finally get on, right, like, it's gonna be like huge for me. It's gonna be like, oh, this thing that I've been trying to do since 2005, right? Like finally, right? And so like the way I'm going to think about it is so much different than somebody who is like, oh, this thing that I just found out about 2 years ago, like that would be cool. That'd be fun. That'd be like a life-changing thing. Like, our approaches are going to be different. But if you only have people like me who are all thinking the same thing, like, that's not gonna be fun to watch.
Right.
To be fair, we all who play orgs are super fans, and we still get unique seasons and outcomes.
Yes.
So I wouldn't say it's necessarily casting all super fans as much as it is the new era.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they could cast super fans who are different. It is like the diversity of personality, not just the diversity of skin color.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that.
But anyways, hey, future Jake, I am so sorry this one went so long. And when you get to this point, just know I love you.
No, I just it is what it is, and like I love talking to you guys, so like we could talk all night. But yeah, so we have officially covered 46, and I guess our next season review, I mean, at some point we'll probably cover international seasons again, but otherwise, I mean, our next Survivor podcast will probably be, we'll do our winner rankings eventually closer to 47, so I'm excited to get to that at some point. But we got something else planned next week. We are starting our next big watch through series. We're doing the X-Men starting next week in preparation for Deadpool Wolverine. So
and wait, does this mean, because we were able to get this one this week, does this mean we get an extra week and we don't have to choose between First Class and Days of Future Past?
Yes. So we can do both. I mean, I believe Will also said that he wanted to do the X-Men with us, so we might have 5 of us. And
yes.
I like Will. Bring on Will. Bring him
I
on.
love Talking Milkman. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am too. I like the good movies in the X-Men, Fox X-Men series. Like, there's still some good movies to watch, and I'm very excited to rewatch those. And
so,
you know,
because you two sound so excited, I'm gonna have to take on a different role in these podcasts than I have recently of defending things. I'm just gonna shit on the X-Men.
Oh no!
Listen, I need you to know. Okay, the only ones I will not defend, there's 3 that I won't defend. I know I said 2 before. There's 3 I won't defend. I won't defend Dark Phoenix, indefensible. I will not defend New Mutants because it's nothing, and I won't defend X-Men Origins Wolverine because
that's my favorite one.
It's not.
It's my
It's
favorite of
It's not.
all X-Men movies that have released so far. X-Men Origins Wolverine is easily the best.
The
This
one
is
that
why you get voted
sews
out
the
for
merc with the
Merch
mouth shut.
Okay, you bring up the one bad. You bring up the Bond.
one bad?
Origins. Like, get out of here.
There's bad the really bad CGI Wolverine claws.
CGI, it's very spotty in all the X-Men movies. Let's not just okay. It was a time before. If we're watching older movies,
Cameron,
I'm gonna be easy on the CGI.
Cameron, I need you to understand the reason that you get voted out early is because you lied.
It's because I'm pretty. I'm pretty and I'm a super fan. And I want to work with people who don't want to work with me, but I want to work with them. So I will work with them regardless. And then I get voted out anyway. So it's a lot of my own fault, but
Someday we'll actually get to play together, Cam, and I won't vote you.
No, you will, Jake. It's literally like I can see the memes now. Like, it's not even funny. I can already see them appearing because even if we don't do an org together for years, the second we do one and you do vote me out, it's gonna be like I'm gonna feel like Charlie. You're just gonna see me sit there and think about it for a minute and be like, all the votes were for me, but Jake's here. Jake, did you vote? Jake sends his vote in the tribe chat and just freaks out.
No, and then I'd be like, I just saw the fire in everybody else's eyes, so I had to vote for Cameron.
It'd be like, see, I knew I had to vote Cameron out. If I was gonna, have a vote on the jury, I wouldn't vote for you, Jake. I'm just saying.
That's why you gotta go pre-merge. That's why you gotta go pre-merge.
All right.
I would have voted for Kevin. I would have voted for who else voted me out pre-merge? I would have voted for
You would not have voted
Travis.
for Sarah.
I would have voted for Sarah. The other one, emo Sarah. I would have voted for Jenny and Mikey Powell. Whoever's sitting there. I'm just saying, if we don't swap screw in second chance, I'm at the end with you, Sarah. No, you, Jenny, and Mikey Powell.
I think
I'm up with you every night while you make your HelloFresh meals. I'm gassing you up. You're taking me. I know it.
Yeah. Well,
if Sarah didn't get her little hands on me before that happened, I guarantee you taking me.
No, I got my little hands on you.
That would have been nice, but Sarah got her little cannons ready. She's like, it'd be funny a second time. This kid fucking loves this game.
Well, we'll continue this conversation after off air.
No,
but,
you know what, Matt? If you got this far, I want a Funko Pop. That's what I want.
All right. Well, we will see you guys. We will see you all next week for X-Men 2000 on the Tribe of Nerds.